Keith Brown works it ahead to Presley, who shoots it in. On the near side, Yanni sends it around the boards. Presley in the far corner for Thomas. Steve Thomas put it out to the line. Keith Brown with a long shot. It doesn't get through. Trickling and then just eluded Creighton, who was alone in front of the net for a moment. Now Yanni long shot. He just missed the far post. Rebound to the along the far side. The Blues clear it. Back to center. Taken there by Yanni. He feeds to Thomas, who shoots it in, but as he does, the St. Louis penalty expires. Both teams at full strength. There's the Blues. Ron Wilson clearing it into the Hawk zone. Jeff Brown just out of the box, and Belfour 30 feet out of the net to clear it away from him and down into the St. Louis zone. Scott Stevens along the board to Oates. He scooped it nicely to Butcher. Garth Butcher feeding Brett Hull, but his pass is picked off. And Troy Murray circles in his own zone. Shot it into the St. Louis end. Taken by the Blues captain Stevens. He gave it to Butcher. Now Hull. Butcher was leveled by Gilbert with a clean hit after he made the pass. But here comes Gino Cavallini over the line to Oates. He couldn't field the puck. And now Troy Murray cleared it to the center ice area. Marois will dump it right back in. Taken by Gino Cavallini. Then Murray took him off the play, and it's cleared to the near corner. Hull picked it off to Oates. He centered it. Tipped right in front. It lays loose. Oates had a save by Belfour. Rebound into the glove of Belfour as the Blues swarm the Hawk net. And Belfour able to hold him off in that sequence. 11 and a half to go in the first. 1-0 St. Louis.
Screen Sport. More sport, more choice. The San Antonio Spurs are embroiled in a fearsome struggle with Utah Jazz at the top of the Midwest Division. Meanwhile, defending champions the Detroit Pistons are as dangerous as ever. The Spurs and the Pistons clash. Weekend Live, Sunday afternoon at 5 on Screen Sport. More sport, more choice. The Patrick divisions are light in the last week of the regular season. In the countdown to the Stanley Cup, the Chicago Blackhawks travel to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Weekend Live tomorrow at 6:35 on Screen Sport. More sport, more choice.
This Saturday night, by popular demand, your own personal video jukebox will start playing your choice at the earlier time of 10 through till 5 a.m. on Lifestyle. Music videos by request on the UK's only totally interactive satellite music channel. To make your selection, ring 0839 656565. Lifestyle Satellite Jukebox, the channel where you call the tune.
Introducing the revolutionary Roller Ruler, an amazing high-tech geometric tool that is 5 instruments in one. The Roller Ruler's patented rolling mechanism allows you to draw perfect vertical lines to any length, and straight parallel lines as close or as far apart as you want. For horizontal lines, simply roll the ruler 1 or 2 centimeters apart and draw your line. Now you have perfect graph paper, and look at this. The Roller Ruler is a compass. Make perfect circles of any size. Use it as a T-square or as a protractor. Roller Ruler can produce and measure any angle with amazing precision. The revolutionary Roller Ruler is perfect for home and office. It comes complete with an automatic pencil, 15 refill leads, and a pencil eraser. To order, call now on 081-847-7733. Now you can place your order in all these European countries. Simply call the number shown.
Here's the draw. Scott Stevens trying to get around Larmer. Cuts for the net. Shoots one. He had it sticked away by Belfour, and it's corralled by Goulet to Yanni. He got bumped at center. Lost his stick. It's stolen by Lowry. Feeding for Basson, a backhander. Rolling wide. There's going to be a penalty coming up against Chicago. And as the Hawks control, the whistle sounds. And the Blues are going to go to the power play again. Now Basson and McGill having words. And everybody gathers in the Chicago zone. Bob Basson, not the biggest of players, but his heart's as big as his body just about, and a very feisty competitor. When he was with the Blackhawks, Dale, you'll remember that in the playoffs a couple of years ago, the Hawk coaches had to be careful about sitting him out once in a while because he just plays with a hell-bent for leather style, and they were worried about using up all that was in that small tank.
Roenick with a vicious two-hander right across the forearm or the muscle bicep area of Basson, and that was the penalty. Then Basson hit him hard into the end boards, catching him off balance. And in the other corner, Sutter took a run at Goulet, but Roenick with a two-hander. And what happened in the last back-to-back weekend series between these two teams was a situation where the Blues took unnecessary penalties in the first game, and the Blackhawks made them pay, and then the Blackhawks returned the favor in the next game here in St. Louis. So this game, a game of discipline, and the team that will control their emotions in that type of situation with regard to taking unnecessary penalties will probably end up winning this weekend series. The second penalty of the night for the Blackhawks and the second power play for the Blues.
Quinn, Cavallini, and Hull for St. Louis with Jeff Brown and Adam Oates on the points. A formidable power play unit for the Blues. Here's the draw, and Manson able to clear it. Creighton and Murray are on the ice for Chicago, along with Manson and Wilson. Hull. Gino Cavallini on left wing. To the line. Manson took him off the puck there. Now back of the net goes Creighton. Cleared it around the boards. Not out. Held in by Oates. Feeding to Brown. Gave it back to Oates. It hopped away from him, and Murray able to bang it to center ice. Adam Oates. Right back over the Hawk line. Now lost, and Larmer racing away. He's got a breakaway. Larmer's in alone. Here's a shot. He scores! Larmer! A short-handed goal for the Hawks. Their 20th of the year. That's the 20th that the Blues have allowed. And we mentioned that the Blues are vulnerable with shorties, and the Hawks take advantage. This game is tied at 1.
Doug Wilson, sensational play at the blue line. Forced the turnover. He forced it at the line. He forced Oates. He made a drop pass, and Larmer picked it up, and then he just pulled away from Brown. Brown, who's been out with a bad ankle, a questionable starter, just can't catch up with Larmer. He tried to hook him. Larmer pulled it away, and then he put it through the legs of Jablonski and into the net for another shorthanded goal. That's 4 shorthanded goals for the Blackhawks in their last 4 periods of hockey.
Steve Larmer scores his second shorty, his 42nd goal of the year. And the Blackhawks have tied the game. Here's Brett Hull with a chance. Fires! Belfour out of the net to challenge and made a good stop. Now on the near side, Quinn lost it, and Larmer cleared. And a minute remains on the Blues power play. Oates to Quinn at center. Dan Quinn hits the line and shot it in. Over to the far corner, Stevens put it in behind the net. Hull corralled there by Manson, then he kicked it loose. There's Stevens to the near point, Jeff Brown. Brown moves it back to Stevens. Touch pass to Oates, reluctant to shoot. Now centered one. Oh, and Quinn all alone at the near post. Didn't see the puck coming through the maze of legs. Here's Quinn. He lost the handle in traffic, and Gilbert cleared. Now a long feed doesn't click. Larmer picks it off and sends it back to the Blues line. One more quick rush in the St. Louis power play. Paul Cavallini into the Hawk zone. Put it to Oates. Stops on the far side. Dropped it to Paul Cavallini, whose shot is blocked by Larmer. And a great effort by Larmer to get to the point man and block the shot. Oates puts it back in. And now the Chicago penalty over. Both teams back at full strength. Here's Larmer on the right wing boards, working hard to get away from Brindamore, and shot it to the Blues line. Now back of his own goal, Paul Cavallini got it to the left wing boards. Brindamore feeds Ron Wilson. Wilson into the Hog zone on Thomas, who spun him around. And back of the net is Belfour. He gave it away. Ron Wilson in the corner. Back of the net, Brindamore moves in the wraparound. Belfour the save, and he holds on. After Belfour made a giveaway, he bailed himself out with a good stop with 8.5 left in the first. 1-1.
Brett Hull has 1 goal. He leads the league in goals. He leads the league in shots. Belfour makes a terrific save right after Larmer scored the shorthanded goal to tie it up. And Belfour says when he cranks it up, I get pumped up real quick.
That would be good advice. You're not ready. It'll end up with the net, which it has done 79 times this year. Here's the draw to Butcher. His long shot doesn't get through. Back of the net, McGill. Cleared it up the boards over everybody's head. Back into the St. Louis zone, and Paul Cavallini's on it. Thomas in hot pursuit. Cavallini gave it away. A shot and a save by Jablonski on Gillis. And a good effort by Thomas to force the giveaway. Now Oates beating Darren Kimball. He lost it as he came to the line. And now Butcher at center ice. Paul Cavallini. And Paul Gillis taking a run at Butcher. He looked like he got a stick right across the yap. And I think Dan Maruelli saw that, and Garth Butcher's going to get a penalty way behind the play. This is an alert reaction by referee Maruelli. That happened 40 feet behind the play, but Maruelli saw Butcher rake Gillis with his stick. 8 minutes left in the first. Hawks in a power play. It's 1-1.
Hawks with 78 goals this year and 355 chances.
Roenick, Larmer, and Goulet in front with Wilson and Manson. Here's the draw. Taken by Dave Manson. Now Manson has room to center, and he'll crank it in from there. Goulet on the near side. Took a bump from Marois. Now it's jammed loose to Doug Wilson. He cuts in, put it across to Manson. The shot, and he shot it wide. And somehow it deflected over the glass and into the crowd.
It hit a defenseman's stick. It hit someone's stick, I believe Wilson's, and boy, that thing gained momentum. Even though Manson can really shoot, that thing picked up speed as it hit the shaft off the glass and into the seats. Wilson couldn't shoot. He was in good position, better position than Manson, but it was at his feet. So he slipped it over to Manson, who was further back. And Manson does have an excellent shot. Deflects off the shaft of his stick and off the glass and into the seats. There's a sea of red, green, and blue here at the arena tonight. A lot of Blackhawk fans making the journey down. A lot of Irish fans and a lot of Blues fans.
A very festive
It's like a pizza
atmosphere. Face off to the left of Jablonski. Keep your mind on the game, will you? Here's the draw, and the Blues able to clear it to center ice. Doug Wilson now works his way to center. The Blues pulling right back, so Wilson dumps it in. Cleared around to the near side. Wilson trying to keep it in. Basson stole it. The race is on. Basson with Manson trying to catch him. Basson got off the shot. He scores! Bob Basson, a short-handed goal. He pulled away from Wilson. Manson trying to catch him, but he couldn't get there. And a great effort by Basson puts the Blues back in front 2-1.
Red Belfour was not in very good position, though, on that particular shot. The only place that Basson could go was to his backhand as Manson dove. Puck took a hop off Wilson. He stopped. Roenick fell down. Basson just took off. Manson tried to catch the speedier Basson. Dove, didn't get the puck. Basson protected the puck, but Belfour was leaning to his right and had his pad to his left. It hit him and deflected into the net. He didn't have good coverage on Basson because Basson only had one place to go, and it deflected through his legs and then off himself and into the net.
Bob Basson, an unassisted short-handed goal at 12:57, and the Blues have answered the Hawks shorty and have regained the lead. And a minute remains on the Chicago power play. Keith Brown. Got knocked down by Rick Mahar behind the net, but Murray there to bail him out. Roy Murray to Trent Yanni, shooting it in. Rick Mahar behind the net. Graham stole it, but his pass picked off by Featherstone. Then Thomas got it back. To the line, Keith Brown. His pass stolen by Wilson, clearing it back to center ice. Taken there by Yanni. He moves it to Murray, who shoots it in. Thomas on the far board. Oh, Brown at the line. Back to Thomas. Thomas to the circle, tries to center it. It hits the leg to Wilson, then he failed to clear it. It's held in by Yanni. To Graham in the corner. Kurt Graham tied up by two Blues. Ron Wilson steals and clears. And that does it for the Chicago power play. Both teams are now back at full strength. 6 minutes left in the first. It's 2-1. in favor of the Blues as Brown for Chicago sends it in there. Scott Stevens bumped by Presley, who gave him a rough ride in the corner. Now Goulet dug it out. Chopped it free along the boards. Manson keeping it in. Then Stevens got it back. And his pass stolen by Manson. He fires. And a save by Jablonski. Rebound to the near corner. Jammed loose on the boards. Presley has it. Wayne Presley circles the net. Stevens picked his pocket with a nice move. Now Presley trying to battle back. But Stevens maintains control to Oates. Banks it softly ahead, and Marois able to get it out to center ice. Now here's David Bruce pushing it into Chicago ice, taken by Manson. Around the boards, Gilbert deflecting to center, and Butcher flipped it right to Manson. Manson shooting it into the St. Louis end. Paul Cavallini to the near side. Brindamore able to feed Quinn. Now a lead for Bruce, and he kicked it ahead into the Hawk zone, and he gave McGill a big hit in the corner. McGill came back on him. He's going to get a penalty, and maybe both. Now they drop the gloves. McGill and Bruce have dropped the gloves, trying to go at one another, and a left hand from Bruce, and McGill answers with several short rights. They both lost their headgear, and now wrestling as the linesmen look for an opportunity to move in, and now they do. Bob McGill and David Bruce with a scuffle. Penalties on the way. 2-1 Blues.
Screen Sport, more choice. International ice hockey on Screen Sport continues with a clash of the giants. The host nation Sweden takes on the Soviet Union in the Swedish Cup, and there's no love lost between these two old rivals. Thursday night at 11 on Screen Sport, more choice.
Last year, Greg Norman stormed home with a final round 65, but failed to overhaul David Frost in the USF&G Classic in New Orleans. This year, it takes on even more importance, as it's the final event before the Players' Championship. Our weekend live coverage starts tomorrow night at 9:35 on Screen Sport.
Now we go over to Fiona Conn at the update desk, where she brings you right up to date with our latest program information and any changes.
And our only change is the basketball teams in our NBA game at 6. Now you can see Detroit at Philadelphia, and that's followed by Go at 8, US Pro Boxing at 9, and a crucial NHL ice hockey game at 10:30. Saturdays is advertised with big weekend live events, including Chicago at Pittsburgh in the NHL at 6:35, and round 3 of the USF&G Golf Classic from New Orleans at 9:35. And our programs have moved around a little on Sunday evening, so the Portuguese rally now motors in at 5, and our weekend live basketball tips off at 6.
Remember, you can stay right up to date by turning to page 100 of Sport Text, or by catching the update desk here on Screen Sport regularly throughout the day.
A hacksaw, a tile cutter, a spirit level, a wire stripper. Now you can say goodbye to that heavy toolbox, thanks to EuroTool. EuroTool is the amazing all-in-one combination tool that has 12 different uses. Use it as a knife sharpener, a carpet cutter, or a strip separator. In the home, the office, or the garden, EuroTool is the handy tool that does it all. And when you're not using it, fold it up and put it in your pocket. It's that small. So it's goodbye to these and hello to this. EuroTool is the perfect gift for him or for her. It comes complete with a full set of blades and a 5-year guarantee. EuroTool is only available through this special TV offer. To order, call now on 081-847-7733. Now you can place your order in all these European countries. Simply call the number shown.
McGill was going to get the first penalty for roughing, and then Bruce came back and whacked him with the stick. So that offset the first penalty, and then they were both going to go at each other.
One of the security folks on the Hawk bench talking with Mike Keenan about a possible problem behind the bench area. And here's where the altercation started. Well, each McGill and Bruce get a minor and a 5-minute fighting penalty. So Bruce coming back at McGill after McGill was going to get the initial penalty. He cost his team a power play, but the Blues with a 2-1 lead, and now Basson, Sutter, and Lowry on for St. Louis against Ronick, Larmer, and Gilbert. Four and a half left in the opening period. 2-1 in favor of the Blues. Each team has scored a shorthanded goal in the game. And the Blues also have a power play tally. Here's the draw. Wilson deep in his own end for Chicago. Gave it to Manson. Dave Manson faked a dump in, and that forced Larmer 3 strides offside as he anticipated the puck going in right away. And another gathering after the whistle as several players have some angry words. But that's all for now.
Well, this is the 7th game of the series. And I think either one of these teams is going to intimidate the other. It's just a matter of who's going to play better.
Steve Larmer now with that shorthander tonight. In his last 11 games has 9 goals and 16 points, including tonight. Now everybody ready in the neutral zone. And they can't get the draw dropped properly. Now they do. And it's cleared into the Blues zone. Paul Cavallini put it to the far side. Keith Brown will hold it in with a long shot. Jablonski gave a rebound, but Larmer knocked down. A good play by the Blues defense. As Butcher knocked Larmer down, he would have had a great rebound chance. Keith Brown now with another long shot, missing the net. Here's Russell squaring off at center ice with Kimball. Darren Kimball and Cam Russell squaring off now. The linesmen are going to let him get started, and now Kimball with a right hand. He's jackhammered Russell, and Russell answers, and Kimball is hurt. Darren Kimball put 3 or 4 on the jaw of Cam Russell, and all of a sudden the Chicago player landed a big right hand, and Kimball's knees buckled. And now they're separated, and they'll head off to the dressing room.
Well, we saw Russell last year called up numerous occasions. He went with Kordic, and Kordic hit him a couple solid shots in the game in Toronto, and he just kept coming. Russell, a tough customer, just called up with the injury to Steve Conroy. They had a lot of time to change their mind. 2 tough guys, Kimball known for this. They both stare at each other. And Kimball surprises Russell, catches a couple right off the bat. And then Russell teed off after getting about 4 or 5 rights himself, and then got Kimball off balance and landed a couple of his own.
Darren Kimball the other night in a game against Detroit had a battle with Bob Probert, and talking to some of the officials who happened to work at that game, they said they have never seen a more one-sided and almost scary situation. Probert landed so many punches on Kimball, he was ragdolling him at the end, just flipping his head from one side to the other, and Probert sort of backed off in the latter stages of the fight, or he really could have done some major damage on Kimball, but the officials who worked that game couldn't believe how one-sided it was. And Probert just gave Kimball a real lesson. Now the play is in the blue zone. Here's a shot and a save by Jablonski. Rebound Wilson. Jablonski rebound. They score! The third chance was put in by Ronick, and the Blackhawks have tied the game at 2. And now we got another brawl around the net as all the players are pairing up. After Ronick popped in the third chance for the goal, he was leveled by a Blues player, and now everybody is pairing off, and Graham being held apart from a St. Louis man. by the linesman.
Well, Stevens going absolutely nuts after the goal went in. Started flailing away at everyone in sight that had a red jersey on. And Graham wanted to get at him, and then Manson came in, and finally they both get. The officials do a great job of preventing any further mess.
They really did. They were on the spot in a hurry there, and they had to be if they're a couple of seconds later than they were. We got a full-scale situation, it would have appeared.
And Scott Stevens just going berserk after the goal went in. He started swinging from the left and right at anybody that had a red jersey on. Roenick's first shot was stopped. Then Wilson came in. His shot deflected right in front. Then Roenick flipped at it. Stevens just knocked Roenick down and then started swinging at everybody in sight. Then Manson came in. Thomas, Graham. Then Graham gave Stevens a sneak attack. But the officials do a great job. Hire, Finn, and Mariuelli, all of them, get in a hurry to prevent maybe a potential riot. Roenick's first attempt stops at the goal mouth. It's hacked loose. Doug Wilson's shot saved by Jablonski. Jablonski then couldn't stop the attempt. Lowry gives Roenick a whack and shoves him right into Stevens. What's Roenick to do in that situation? Stevens takes exception to it, and then Graham comes in, and Stevens is swinging at everybody. Scott Stevens, 25th in the all-time penalty list in the NHL.
And Dale, unless he has a big finish in his penalty minute total, this is going to be the lowest number of penalty minutes in his 9-year career. He came into the game tonight with 119 minutes. The lowest he's ever had in the previous 8 years is 154. And the Blues, when they signed him with that huge free agent contract, they certainly knew that he was a tough and combative player, but they said, hey, we need you on the ice this year. We don't want you to be spending time all night in the penalty box. You can't help us from there. And so Stevens has tried to cool down his act, but he will have a few more minutes tacked on here as Mariuelli tries to pass a stern message along to representatives from both teams. As Dale's, the longer this first period has gone along, the chippier it's become, and Mariuelli trying to make sure it doesn't break out into a full-scale mess.
The Blues have controlled their penalty minutes all season long. There's 78 fewer minors in Chicago coming into this game. But Graham to Roenick. Roenick shot blocked by Stevens, who's a premier shot blocker. Wilson comes in, and then finally Roenick shovels it in, and then Lowry shoves Roenick right into Stevens. And then when Stevens flattened Roenick, Gilbert came in, so did Thomas. And Stevens takes a poke at both Thomas and Graham. One with the left and one with the right.
Well, Jeremy Roenick has scored his 38th goal of the year to tie this game with 3.5 left in the first period.
Stevens, 2 minutes high sticking and 2 minutes roughing. Time of the penalties.
Double minors to both Graham and Stevens at 16:25. Those are going to be the only penalties.
Double minor for roughing.
And
Stevens, 2 minutes high sticking.
so no power play situation here, but the Blackhawks have gotten the equalizer on Roenick's 38th after Jablonski made 2 fine saves. Really can't fault the goaltender. He stopped 2 point-blank shots, and the Blues just couldn't clear the front of the net. And Roenick, with a good hand-eye coordination on a bouncing puck on the third whack at it, was able to chip it up over the fallen goaltender. And Jeremy Roenick now has 4 goals in his last 4 games. And in the last 30 games he's played, he's got 20 goals. Well, the Blackhawks have again tied it at 2. Here's the draw. Manson deep in his own end. Now he gave it to Wilson. Flipped it ahead. A weak pass held in by Paul Cavallini. And it was taken away from him nicely by Roenick. Roenick tied up along the boards. Finally it's cleared back to the neutral area, and the Blues shoot it in. Doug Wilson whacked it out to center ice. Blues dump it in again. Taken by Manson. Dave Manson to Steve Thomas on left wing. His long shot. Oh, Jablonski fanned on it. but it sailed wide of the near post by a foot or two. Now Butcher back into the Hawk zone, an extra move at the line. It would have been offside, but the Hawks able to steal it. And Presley shot it around the boards, and the Blues able to keep it in. Gino Cavallini, deep slot to Marois, fakes the shot. Now the drive, didn't get anything on it. Good play by Gillis to hook the stick of Marois. He didn't get much on the shot, and Belfour stopped it easily. Now the whistle sounds. Mario Marois was acquired in the waiver draft by the Blues and has turned in a solid year for them.
Marois faking the shot. Would have been wise to let it go. He does have a very good shot. He used Goulet and his own teammate as a screen, but he elected to hesitate. And that hesitation allowed Gillis to come back and prevent a good shot. Meanwhile, Thomas, prior to that, let one go from outside the line. If it's on, it's in. Jablonski misplayed it. Fortunately for him, it was wide.
2 minutes left in the opening period. Face off to the left of Ed Belfour. This game tied at 2. Murray and Oates get ready. And Murray able to tie him up nicely. Kicked it to Yanni. The right wing boards and Larmer. He's tied up, but then Heath Brown able to chip it back into the Blues zone. And Marois is back for St. Louis. Murray's hustling, but the Blues able to clear it, and Oates and gave it away to Murray at center, and he dumps it back in there.
And why was that not icing?
Good question. I think they ruled that the Blues player trying to hold it in on the far side touched the puck on the Hawk clearing effort, but at any rate, the play allowed to continue, and now the Blues have Oates to the line. He's surrounded there, can't advance it. And now corralled by Doug Wilson. New Manson on the far side. He gets it into St. Louis territory. Around to the near corner. Roenick dug it out to Gilbert's side of the net, and Paul Cavallini took it away nicely. Cavallini ran right into Roenick. Puck came loose, and then the Blues clear it out to center ice. Now a dump and hit a linesman to Presley, but he couldn't pull the trigger as the Blues collapsed on him nicely, and Butcher made a nice play. A minute remains in the opening period. Dave Manson at center ice. He's had a huge amount of ice time here in period 1 tonight. Manson shoots it in. And Rick Mahar starts St. Louis back to Basson over the line. He got around Manson to the corner. Basson cuts in centering. Yanni got there to block the pass. Basson has it again. Yanni knocked him down in the corner. Now they still battle away, and Basson trying to dig it loose. He's knocked down, and Yanni's going to get a penalty. Now here's Sutter taking a swing at Adam Creighton, and the linesman again there very quickly with a good bit of recognition of that situation. Looked like there's going to be a penalty called on Yanni, who gave an extra whack to Basson as he fell to the ice, and then off the play, Richard Sutter with a roundhouse left on Adam Creighton.
Basson, meanwhile, while he was down, a two-hander on Yanni that went undetected by Maroelli. Basson goes down. Yanni gives him an extra shove. That's the penalty. And then a vicious two-hander from Basson on his back. I don't know if Maroelli is going to call that one or not. But Yanni was going to get the original penalty in a penalty-filled first period.
And it seemed to take a while for the rough stuff to start. The players went through about the first half of the period without a lot of the extracurriculars, but in the second half of the first, it's happened a lot. And Trent Yanni is going to get the only penalty here. So Yanni for slashing in 1933, and the Blues will head back to the power play.
Basson went down, and then Yanni gave him a shove while he's down, and then Basson just swung violently with the stick at Yanni, and Maroelli's not calling that, and he's right there, and he saw the whole thing. And only one penalty, and the Blues will finish the period to the third power play of the period. 27 seconds remaining in a 2-2 tie here in the first period.
And after this first period, two players who were not very prone to that type of nonsense in their playing days, Dale Talon and Bernie Federko, are going to have a little chat in the first intermission here tonight. Bernie Federko with the honor of having his sweater number 24 retired prior to the game this evening, and Dale will talk to his longtime adversary when they were on the ice, but friend off the ice during the first intermission here tonight. An offside play at the Hawk line with 11 seconds left in the period.
Dan Quinn with 1 goal. He's being acquired in the trade, and he's a -7
in 5 games as a member of the Blues. Here's the draw to Doug Wilson. He clears it down the ice, and that's going to do it for the opening period. The horn sounds, and 20 minutes are complete in the arena in St. Louis. Shots on goal in the opening period, 13 for Chicago and 10 for St. Louis. The Blues open the scoring on a power play goal from Brett Hull's 79th of the year. Scott Stevens and Jeff Brown assisting at 3:08. Then the Blackhawks got a short-handed strike from Steve Larmer, who had a breakaway from center ice in and pumped it through Jablonski. Larmer's shorthander was his 42nd goal of the year, unassisted at 9:33, but the Blues got that back with a shorty of their own. Bob Bassett with a steal and score at 12:57. That goal was unassisted as well, and then the Blackhawks tied it as Jeremy Roenick scored his 38th on a goal mouth scramble from Doug Wilson and Dirk Graham at the 16:25 mark. So a very eventful first period here in the arena in St. Louis, but we expected nothing less as these two longtime adversaries square off with first place on the line. But after one period in the arena, Hawks 2, Blues 2.
Screen Sport. More sport, more choice.
Motorsport next week on Screen Sport. Starts on Wednesday at 5 with Supercross and continues with a double bill of Ice Speedway at 8, followed by drag racing at 9. On Friday at 5, the Mud and Monster stunt trucks show their no stick in the muds. And at 8, an hour of power as Go gets the green light. Then on Saturday at 4, Power Sports International enters the fray. Top motorsport here on Screen Sport. More sport, more choice.
Has this ever happened to you? What a mess. This shirt and blouse have had it. Or have they? Now, there's a simple way to deal with the most difficult stains. DD7. A super concentrated formula that removes stains but won't harm fabrics. Now where's the ink? Delicate silk, incredibly clean. Tar, iodine, blood, rust. DD7 gets rid of them all. Dull, grey-net curtains, restored to a like-new whiteness thanks to a soak in DD7. Imagine this is your washing machine. Dye from a red sock, ink, iodine. A little DD7 and goodbye to unwanted stains. Order DD7 today from only $6.95. Or we'll double your order for only £3 more. That's 2 tubes from only $9.95. Call your local number on screen now. Austria, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, France, Greece, Germany, Holland, Ireland, Norway, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, and the UK.
Are you a sports fan? Cash in on your sports knowledge and win £100. Call 0898 664 660 and test your knowledge. It's easy to win. That's 0898 664 660. Be a winner and call 0898 664 660. Call now. For Ireland, please call 03 000 122 88.
This is Screen Sport, broadcast
broadcasting via cable and satellite throughout Europe and the UK, 18 hours a day during the week and around the clock on weekends. For football with more flair, for motorsport with more grunt, for boxing with more punch, for golf with more drive. And constant action as it happens wherever it happens. We're cracking the whip with sport satellite by satellite. Screen Sport, more choice.
Here we're tied at 2 heading into the second period. And the Blues, remember, start this period on a power play. They have a minute and a half left on a penalty to Trent Yanni. The Blackhawks outshot St. Louis 13-10 in the first, but 8 of the 13 Chicago shots came from defensemen, including 4 from Doug Wilson. Meanwhile, for the Blues, they had 10 shots, and 3 came from Brett Hull, and the Blackhawks have to be leery of that. If he gets 3 shots every period, they're going to be in for a long night.
The power play for a minute and a half, though, for the Blues to start the second period.
Now Adam Oates trying to feed Brindamore. He's forced to turn. Now Hull gave it back to Oates, who shoots it in. Over to the far corner, Brindamore moves behind the net. Wilson took him off the puck, allowing Manson to steal. He's got plenty of time. And now clear. Jeff Brown goes to Brindamore. He has room up the left side, gets the line around Manson, then he went down along the boards. Manson able to get it to Troy Murray, clearing. Jeff Brown ahead to Gino Cavallini. Cavallini in on Keith Brown, who turned him around. Gilbert looking to steal, got jostled in the corner. Puck lays loose there. The Blues dig it out. To the deep slot. Here's Oates faking the shot. He slipped at a shot, and a save by Belfour on Quinn. Great move by Oates, who looked like he's going to pull the trigger, then made a nice slip pass over to Quinn, but Belfour had the answer.
Oates is a very unselfish player. He makes the right move most times. He fakes the shot, slipped it over to Quinn. Quinn lets it go, but a waist-high shot. Belfour, good save with Cavallini in front of the net, with 21 seconds remaining on the third Blues power play. Oates fakes the shot with Gilbert sliding out, slips it by him, and Quinn tries to finish it off, but is unable to score his second goal as a St. Louis Blue.
There's 21 seconds left on the Hawk penalty. Face off to the left of Belfour, and now Hull and Brian Sutter in a conversation at the Blues bench, and that's ended quickly.
Hull and Oates, quite a tandem. They're great buddies off the ice. They go everywhere together, do everything together. You can see they read off each other beautifully on the ice.
Well, Brett Hull, I think, has done a lot to further the image of Adam Oates around here. Here's the draw. A good save made by Belfour, and a long shot, and the Hawks clear it. Adam Oates, in his days with Detroit, was not known as a physical presence, and he's still not here. But Brett Hull, when he talks about Oates, he talks about him as being the heart and soul of this Blues team and a real competitor. And that's not a label that he had in Detroit. Hull has, I think, done a lot to enhance the image of Oates here in the St. Louis area. Here come the Blues now. Gino Cavallini faking, then he shoots, and he shot it wide. Rebound to the near side. The Hawk penalty's over. Both teams at full strength as Manson flipped it ahead. Oh, Larmer behind everybody. But the pass missed him, or he would have had his second breakaway of the game. Into the corner it goes. Gillis. Look, a hit there from Paul Cavallini. Now Gillis able to win the puck. Got jammed it loose to Larmer, who's center, but nobody home for the Hawks in front as they were changing. And Brett Hull starts back. Hull over the Hawk line, looks for Lowry, but it's knocked away. Here's Larmer on the counterattack. He has Goulet coming, then Larmer shoots, and a save by Jablonski. Now the rebound to Hull. He's in, a breakaway. Brett Hull, the shot, and a save by Belfour. And he holds on. Brett Hull narrowly missing number 80, and the game remains tied at 2.
Jablonski makes an excellent save on Steve Larmer on a 2-on-1. Adam Oates just turned and put it right on the money up the middle through about 4 Hawk players to Brett Hull, who did a good job, stayed on side, but Belfour doesn't go for the move and slides over to his left and prevents Brett Hull from scoring his 2nd of the night and 80th of the year.
Face off in the Hog zone. Now Troy Murray circles the net. Gave it to Graham on right wing, who clears to center. Marois broke up the rush there. Mario Marois shooting it in. And it took a funny hop off the glass and winds up in the crowd, and a very happy fan. Guy doing a little Irish jig there as he made the catch. And don't jump too much, my friend. The foundation is starting to shake a little bit. So the draw outside the Chicago line.
Brett Hull takes a look, never once looked at the puck, and then drifted over to his right, faked the shot, went wide. And I'd love to see Brett Hull as a goaltender, one-on-one. You must love nightmares. He has scored a goal, at least a goal, against every team in the league, and Blackhawks have done a pretty good job against them in the 7 games. Only 4 goals against.
Here come the Blues now. Mahar 3-on-2 if he hurries. Mahar gets the line, and offside went Ron Wilson. He was trying to run a pick for Darren Kimball. I would imagine the Blues would like that to be reversed, but Ron Wilson, in an effort to get some open ice for Kimball, went in there ahead of the play.
Ron Wilson, 2 wily veterans. Kimball, the tough guy on the right side. Mahar coming back after major knee surgery. Injured his knee in the playoffs against the Blues, or the Blackhawks last year, and missed most of this year.
What a job, though, too. Dale has always relied on his great wheels, and a career-threatening. That was a major knee injury that he had. That was something that had a lot of the Blues brass wondering if they'd ever see Mahar in a St. Louis sweater again. And at the age of 35, Rick Mahar has made it all the way back and into the Blues lineup. Here's the draw taken by Steve Thomas. Sends it ahead, just missing Gillis. And Featherstone in his own end. Got a rough ride from Gillis in the corner. Cleared to the far side, and Kimball sends it up the boards. Ron Wilson flipped it to center. McGill puts it back in, taken by Marois. Now Blues having difficulty advancing it, and Marois tries again to Ron Wilson. Wilson gets to the Hawk line, lost it there to Presley. Wayne Presley feeding for Stu Grimson. Hopped over his stick, and now Manson cleared it to the center ice area. Blues dump it back in. Presley. Now Gino Cavallini and Manson got the sticks working for a moment, but the play goes on as Grimson trying to carry it in, failed to do it, but Manson moves ahead to Roenick, and Jeremy Roenick is ruled to be offside on the play.
Well, the change with the door that opens on the Hawk bench to the right to the Blues end this time opens up offside inside the blue line, and when they changed, the player that jumped on the ice jumped through the gate and was offside.
A rematch tomorrow in Chicago Stadium. 7:20 on WBBM radio in Chicago, and 7:30 Central Time for many of you on these same sports channel stations. Here's the draw. Richard Sutter in his own end. To Garth Butcher. Flipped it ahead, taken by Cam Russell. Russell puts it around to the far side, and Roenick chipped it nicely to Keith Brown, who bangs it in there. On the near side, Larmer jammed it loose to Brown. His pass hits the leg, and Russell now back at center. Russell cranks it into the blue zone. Cleared right back the other way. And Bob McGill corrals. And shot it into the blue zone. This is going to be an icing call against Chicago. "12 minutes to go in the second, tied at 2 as the Blues shoot it in. McGill back. Bob McGill to Jeremy Roenick. Lost it at center, and Kimball gave it right to Yanni. He gets the line. Yanni up the middle, feeding Roenick. He cuts in, shoots. He just missed the far post by half a foot, and it comes back to the near side. Steve Thomas put it behind the net. Taken now by Kimball. He feeds Mahar to center. Rick Mahar in on Cam Russell. He leaves it for Ron Wilson. The return pass is picked off by Roenick. Then the Blues get it back. Wilson, big save by Belfour on Ron Wilson. Out of the far side, and Thomas able to flip it back to center ice. Now the Hawks dump it in. Taken by Scott Stevens. And on a delayed offside call here as Chicago gets control, the whistle sounds, and Shane Heyer said the Hawks were offside. 11 minutes left in period 2. It's 2-2.
Trent Yanni allowed to cross the line, looked to dump it across to Roenick. Bouncing puck, Roenick waits, goes for the far side, misses the far post by 8 inches. At the other end, Ron Wilson's backhand pass to Mahar. Gets by Roenick. Mahar back to Wilson, and an excellent save by Belfour to move across and prevent the go-ahead goal.
Now at center ice, Steve Larmer shooting it in. Back of the net goes Goulet. A big collision there with Stevens. Then Creighton dug it out. Tied up, though, by a much smaller Dan Quinn. It came loose to Larmer. He scores! Steve Larmer! After Creighton jammed it loose along the boards, Larmer whipped it by Jablonski with a low wrister. Second goal of the game for Larmer, and the Hawks lead for the first time. 3-2.
Well, one of the reasons Quinn has been traded so often, he's trying to hit a much bigger guy. He's got one hand on his stick, trying to pry the puck loose. Creighton outmuscles him, gets it to Larmer, and Larmer scores. Quinn has got to have at least 2 hands on the stick and try to work Creighton over somehow to prevent him from getting the puck out to Larmer, but he had one hand on his stick. How does he expect to prevent a much bigger player from getting the puck loose? And it results in a Steve Larmer goal.
Well, Dan Quinn in his career has had 548 points, and he's modeled a few uniforms, so that you just saw a big reason why he has been shipped around so often. He is just not a guy who is going to be very effective in any game that becomes very physical. Blues are going to have to utilize his talents on the power play, and otherwise he might be a liability. Now here's Paul Gillis getting worked over behind the play by Marois. And here are the linesmen again with a good and quick reaction. And Maroueli keeping everybody else for the neighborhood. I'll tell you what, this has been a tough game to work, and Maroueli and Finn and Heyer to this point have been right on it, in my opinion. They have really had a good night under some difficult circumstances so far. We're halfway through the second period. 3-2 Chicago.
Screen Sport. More sport, more choice.
On land, sea, or in the air, Power Sports is where the action is. And this week, we're touring cars from Simons Plains in Tasmania and rallying with round 2 of the National Rally Championship from Carlisle. Tomorrow at 4 on Screen Sport. More sport, more choice.
Pro Box, Europe's weekly boxing show that hits you right between the eyes. And now, an international welterweight contest between Mickey Hughes and American Miguel de Leon. Live on Tuesday at 8 on Screen Sport. More sport, more choice. The 80-game regular season is history. Now the action is for real. The NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. Coming soon to Screen Sport. More sport, more choice.
Introducing the revolutionary roller ruler, an amazing high-tech geometric tool that is 5 instruments in one. The roller ruler's patented rolling mechanism allows you to draw perfect vertical lines to any length and straight parallel lines as close or as far apart as you want. For horizontal lines, simply roll the ruler 1 or 2 centimeters apart and draw your line. Now you have perfect graph paper. And look at this, the roller ruler is a compass. Make perfect circles of any size. Use it as a T-square or as a protractor. Roller ruler can produce and measure any angle with amazing precision. The revolutionary roller ruler is perfect for home and office. It comes complete with an automatic pencil, 15 refill leads, and a pencil eraser. To order, call now on 081-847-7733. Now you can place your order in all these European countries. Simply call the number shown.
Blues have Lowry and Mahar, along with Butcher and Stevens. Here's the draw, and right from the draw, Stevens. Oh, now they're going to rule Creighton held up his man after Stevens, right after the draw, cross-checked Goulet. And apparently Maruelli didn't see that, but he saw Adam Creighton get in the way of a Blues player, and now Stevens and Manson having words. But
Scott Stevens has been running all over the place, especially here in the second period. Almost out of control.
A real departure from the way he's played most of the year, Dale. As we pointed out, the Blues, when they got him, said, we need you on the ice. Don't be running around and doing a lot of foolish things, as he was prone to do from time to time in Washington.
Off the draw, Mahar put his stick between Creighton's legs. Creighton held him up a little bit, but boy, Creighton getting some tough calls against him in the last couple of games, and that nullifies the Hawk power play, a 4-second Blackhawk power play.
So 4 skaters aside now. Five and a half left in the second period. 3-2 in favor of the Blackhawks. Chicago with a slight edge in the season series. 3 wins for Chicago, 2 for St. Louis, and 1 tie. There's the draw to Manson in his own end. Dave Manson sends it to the far side, and Gilbert dumps it in, hoping for Murray, but Jablonski out of the net to play it. Over to the far side, held in by Wilson. Here's the long shot, missing the net. Rebound to the near side. Now Manson holding it in with good help from Troy Murray. Here's Manson, the shot blocked by a sprawling Stevens, and it's cleared back to center ice. Greg Gilbert trying to feed Larmer. He had a half a step on his check, but the pass is stolen. Back comes Quinn over the line, walks into the slot, shoots. Belfour with a blocker, made a good stop. Back of the net, Stevens digs it out, centering. Deflects to Quinn, his long shot, and a save by Belfour in traffic. Rebound to the near side, a shot gloved by Belfour. What a job by Ed Belfour. And now Stevens and Manson drop the gloves, and these two heavyweights are going to be kept apart as again Finn and Heyer get to the scene in a hurry. Meanwhile, a Blues player all over Belfour and Wilson all over Dave Lowry, and Belfour made a couple of saves with a man draped all over him.
And then Belfour, as the whistle blew, went out of the crease and flattened Quinn. Lowry in front, ties up Manson. Puck comes back to Quinn. Quinn lets it go. Shot hit the side of the net. Wilson knocks down Lowry in front. Stevens in deep. Tries to surprise Belfour by throwing one from behind the net, hoping for a deflection, and then Belfour just leveled Quinn, and then Manson and Stevens drop the gloves, and the officials get in a hurry. The penalty is coming at 13:37. I should say 15:37. Belfour, who's got a record for most penalty minutes by a Blackhawk goaltender with 34, and I'm sure he'll have a few more before this year's out.
Still 4 skaters aside. Face-off outside the Chicago line. Here's the draw. Paul Cavallini gets into the Hawk zone. He put it to Hull on the near side against McGill. Hull got knocked down along the boards. Now Cavallini held it in. Looks for Oates. It hopped over his stick, and McGill sends it back the other way. It's going to be icing against Chicago.
Brett Hull now with 10 goals in 7 straight games. Had a 13-game scoring streak snapped by the Blackhawks. He and Oates both had scoring streaks snapped February 24th. Brett Hull was 79. 8 games left after tonight.
There's an awful lot of things that are so impressive about Brett Hull's numbers, Dale, but here's another. At home, Brett Hull has 36 goals. On the road, he's got 43. Face off to the right of Belfour.
Everybody knows he's the main guy, and he still gets the job done. Amazing number of goals, especially after the year he had last year.
He certainly wasn't going to surprise anybody this season, and yet he's still managed to put together one of the best goal-scoring years in the history of the league. Here's Troy Murray walking and shoots. Hit the side of the net. Got the outside of the post. Now Roenick in the corner. Got it loose to Murray. Here's the shot. Jablonski the save. Fell down making it, but he got in the way. And Paul Cavallini starts back for Oates. It hopped over his stick. And Hudson for Chicago feeding Roenick. Gets into the blue zone on Butcher. Roenick around him, shoots. Butcher stuck out the leg and tripped Roenick. He still got rid of a shot. And a good save made by Jablonski. Now the 2 penalties are over and both teams are at full strength as the Blues look to clear it. And they do as Oates carries to center. Oates gets the Hawk line. Wilson cuts for the net. He centered it. A shot and a save by Belfour. He doesn't know where it is, but Creighton does. And Ron Wilson flying up the slot. Got a great feed from Oates to get a scoring chance, but Belfour thwarted him. Now Jeff Brown feeding Ron Wilson over the line. Quinn up the middle. Here's the pass. Creighton there to steal it. And Adam Creighton feeds Presley on right wing. Into the blue zone. He coughed it up there. And now the clearing effort hit a Hawk player while he was changing and winds up in the Chicago bench. 2.5 minutes left to go in the second period.
Troy Murray hits the post and then gets the puck back and makes a good shot. Meanwhile, perfect pass from Adam Oates. No room really to make the pass and no room for Wilson to get it, but somehow he gets it to him. Roenick with a nice move. Butcher sticks his leg out. Still Roenick gets the shot away. And then Troy Murray had a good chance right after that. Well, Jablonski has played well, and so has Belfour. Belfour with some excellent saves here in the second.
Now into the Hawk zone. A shot from a bad angle, gloved by Belfour. He will hold on to it. And now Quinn, who took a swing at Gillis behind the play that nobody saw. Gillis knocked Quinn down at the Blues line, and as the play was up the ice, and those two were separating, Quinn, while on the ice, just whacked Gillis right across the back of the legs where there's no protection. And as the whistle sounded, Quinn and Gillis having words, and they're both going to be sent off here.
Well, every 30 seconds some type of altercation occurs. Second period, it took 6 minutes for the first penalty. It took about 4.5, 5 minutes in the first period to get into the altercation type situations, and they haven't stopped. Not a lot of flow to this game, but Hawks with a 3-2 lead on the road, and 2.5 minutes still to go in the second period. Quinn and Gillis offset each other with their penalties. Endemore with a move to get around Wilson. Bruce sneaks in behind him and cranks it up from the hash marks on the far boards. Belfour, a good concentration on the shot from a poor angle.
Here's Doug Wilson to the left wing boards, and Goulet lets it roll back into the St. Louis end. David Bruce tied up by Hudson, but he held the puck. Banks it ahead to Brindamore. Rod Brindamore in on Wilson. Brindamore cuts in, centered it, Featherstone shoots, Belfour the save. Rebound Bruce, the shot is blocked, and a good play by Goulet. Now Jeff Brown a shot. That doesn't get through. Here's Bruce in the far corner. David Bruce leaves it there for Brindamore. Brindamore taking a look, centered it, Bruce the drive. That hits somebody in the slot. Now back to the far point, Jeff Brown, his long shot. Belfour stopped it to Larmer. And Steve Larmer feeds Goulet, cranking it into the Blues zone. Cleared right back the other way. And Yanni. And then Richard Sutter bumped in slightly to Belfour. Not a big hit, but he jostled him, and back come the Hawks. Here's Presley over the line. Presley, his shot is blocked by Butcher. And Bob Basson the other way. Basson for Rich Sutter. The return pass wasn't there. Keith Brown steals and got it to Creighton, clearing it to the Blues line. We have a minute remaining in the second period, 3-2 in favor of the Hawks. As it's shot into the Chicago end. Keith Brown couldn't get it by Cavallini. A long shot. Belfour stopped it, gave a rebound. Chip just wide. Richard Sutter missed by an inch of tying the game. Rebound taken by Roenick. He's 1 against 2, and Cavallini took him off the puck, but he hustled, Roenick did, to the corner. Jammed it free along the boards. Here's McGill with a long shot. Blocked by Paul Cavallini. Now Garth Butcher for St. Louis. To the right wing boards, and Sutter, who narrowly missed, getting the equalizer. The Blues shoot it in. Gino Cavallini bumping in the near corner, then it's taken away and cleared, not out. Featherstone keeping it into Hall. The long shot. Belfour the save. Rebound taken by McGill. And the second period will come to an end. And the Blues in the final minute have 2 good scoring chances, but they are held off, and Chicago will take a lead into the second intermission. Shots on goal in the second period. The Blues credited with 15 shots, and the Blackhawks credited with 6. And the 2-period total is 25 shots for St. Louis and 19 for Chicago, but only 1 goal scored, and that put the Hawks in front. Steve Larmer popped in his 2nd goal of the game and 43rd of the year from Adam Creighton and Michel Goulet at 9:24. And Chicago is out in front for the first time in the game. After 40 minutes in the St. Louis Arena, Chicago 3, St. Louis 2.
Screen Sport. More sport, more choice. Certainly the most controversial football in the world. Still immensely talented. Capture the excitement of the Premier League matches throughout the season. Argentina football today at 4 on Screen Sport. More sport, more choice.
Could this be the one for the history books? Nick Faldo goes in search of the great American dream. An unheard-of 3rd Augusta Masters victory in succession. He leads the strongest ever European challenge. All 4 days of the Augusta Masters live. Coming soon on Screen Sport. More sport, more choice.
Have a pen and paper ready to order the following product by phone. Can you survive the all-smashing, all-crashing Car Wars 3? Thrills and spills, incidents and accidents, near misses and miraculous escapes, all from top professional motorsports. Cars, bikes, boats, so spectacular you can almost smell the burning rubber. Witness the drivers dicing with death before your very eyes. Amazingly, no one gets seriously injured. Fasten your seatbelt for the hottest show on wheels. It's Car Wars 3. Plus, Stunt Mania, an exciting insight into the world of the daredevil stunt rider. Watch with horror, amazement, and anticipation as the drivers perform the craziest, wildest stunts imaginable. Cars falling like Skittles, cars flying through the air. The most spectacular, death-defying car and truck stunts you'll ever see. Have you got the nerve to watch Stunt Mania? Order this brilliant double VHS video pack by phone now. Car Wars 3 and Stunt Mania come with a full money-back guarantee. Car Wars 3, the greatest ever Car Wars video and Stunt Mania by phone now.
Screen Sport. More sport, more choice, more
Our next Blackhawk game on Sports Channel will be Saturday at 12:30 Central, when the Hawks will take on the Penguins live from the Civic Arena at 12:30 Central on Sports Channel and 12:20 on WBBM. And a reminder, the Blackhawks return home to face the same St. Louis Blues tomorrow. Game time on WBBM, 7:20.
Here we go with a third, 3-2 in favor of Chicago as the faceoff is shot down into the Blues zone. Gilbert goes crashing into the corner. It's knocked away from him, though, to Hull. Brett Hull gave it to Oates. He'll dump it in. Cleared to the near side, and Gilbert sends it back the other way. This is going to be an icing call against Chicago. Now Stevens is back to touch it.
Scott Stevens logging a lot of ice time. Really has been aggressive and almost out of control in a lot of regards as far as altercations. Meanwhile, Brett Hull has the one goal tonight and he's had some scoring chances. Had a breakaway stop by Belfour. Cavallini plays the left wing with Oates and Hull, and Cavallini has not scored a goal in 29 games. Look at him. Oates looks more to his right than he does to his left. But ever since the Blues made the trade at the trading deadline, sent 4 players to the Vancouver Canucks, the Blues have only scored 16 goals prior to tonight's game. 12 of the 16 were scored by either Oates or Hull.
Now the draw to the left of Belfour. Here it is, taken by Yanni. Yanni clearing it ahead to Murray. Roy Murray got away from Cavallini. 2-on-1 over the line, cuts in, centered it, and Jablonski blocked the pass, or Hudson would have had a tap in. Good play by Murray to try to set up Hudson. Now the Blues start back, but a pass is picked off by McGill, and Murray puts it back into the St. Louis end. Scott Stevens got it to the Hawk line. Manson there to Wilson. Sending it in. Stevens cleared it to the far side, and a pass from Cavallini misses Oates. And the Blackhawks' Thomas puts it back behind the Blues goal. Now Rod Brindamore to Dan Quinn. Quinn to the Hawk line. He dropped it for Brindamore, who cuts in, failed to control the puck. He was trying to get ready to pull the trigger, never did. And it's shot back to center ice. Paul Cavallini bangs it in from there. Brindamore on the near side, bats it with a glove, but Gillis steals to Goulet. And down into the Blues zone it goes. Brindamore to Quinn. Quinn over the Hawk line, just gave it right to Brown. Keith Brown nearly gave it away to Lowry. Now it finally is corralled by Roenick. And then it's shot to the St. Louis line. Paul Cavallini to Mario Marois. Now Cavallini lost the handle, and Roenick sends it behind the Blues goal. Cleared to the near side. Thomas held it into Presley. The shot. He just missed the far post by a foot. Creighton into the corner. Got help from Presley. He's bumped behind the net. Then Thomas in there to dig it out. And Thomas walks in front, shoots. Jablonski the save, and he covers before Presley or Creighton could get to the loose puck. 3 minutes gone in the third period. The Hawks lead the Blues 3-2.
In the first 3 minutes, the Blackhawks liking the development of the early part of the third period, not allowing the Blues any pressure, no chances. The Hawks, though, getting a few chances of their own. Some turnovers in the Blues zone. Presley gets the puck, turns, fires, and just misses Marois and Jablonski by inches.
Meanwhile, check this out.
L.A. was trailing 3-2 in the third period, late in the period, and L.A. with 2 goals win and beat the Flames 4-3 in that battle. They take over sole possession of the Smythe division.
And at the moment, they lead the NHL overall. That moves L.A. to 93 points. And a major come-from-behind victory on the road for Los Angeles tonight. The Flames and the Kings still play 2 more games in the final 7 of their overall season. They've each got 7 left and 2 between one another. Here's the play in the Hawk zone. Hull trying to center it, deflected into the near corner, and Gilbert sends it up the boards, not out. Featherstone put it in front. He misses Cavallini, and Dirk Graham gathers it in, and he'll accept an icing call here as he fires it back into the St. Louis zone.
We'll expect a lot of that from the Blackhawks here the remaining part of the third period. They have a 1-goal lead. Important for the Blues to win. They don't want a tie. Will only force them to have to win on the road tomorrow night in Chicago Stadium and play their next 5 games, including tomorrow night, straight on the road. Hawks have 3 road games left after this one.
Really amazing, Dale, how this year has mirrored last year in the Norris Division from the sense that the Hawks have had the lead for the better part of the season, and the Blues caught them and passed them. And as you pointed out earlier, the last time these teams had a home-and-home series, the pressure was on Chicago as they trailed St. Louis by 3 points. That was in late February, and the teams split those 2 games. But since then, the Blues have stumbled, and the Blues have won just 1 time in the previous 7 games coming into tonight. A win, 2 losses, and 4 ties for the Blues in their last 7 overall. And as a result, the Hawks have passed them on top of the Norris, and now the pressure seems to be on St. Louis in this home-and-home series. As the Blues, as Dale mentioned, are facing a 5-game road trip after this contest. Here's the play in the Blues zone, and Brindamore gets tied up, but gets some help, and Quinn failed to clear it. Gillis puts it in behind the net. Jablonski out to play it to Paul Cavallini. And he works his way to center. Cavallini gets the Hawk line. Now here's a long shot up off the glass. Coming to the near point, Butcher. His long flip shot is gloved by Belfour, and he'll hang on to it.
The Blues made up some ground, especially in the month of February. They gained 7 points on the Blackhawks. The Hawks had their first below 500 month. But the Hawks have had a good month of March and have regained the lead on St. Louis.
Screen Sport, more choice.
Michael Jordan leads his band of charging Chicago Bulls into Boston to take on the Celtics. It's a real table topper as these NBA rivals look to put the other in the shade. Weekend Live, Sunday the 31st of March on Screen Sport. More sport, more choice.
Entertainment for Saturday afternoon on Screen Sport. We drop you right in the mud at midday as those certifiable stunt stars surge, splutter and splash through the slop and over the top. At 1, 2 teams playoff bound in the NBA do battle. The Philadelphia 76ers and the Detroit Pistons are playing second fiddle in their respective divisions but are hoping to orchestrate a change. Boca Juniors sit atop the Argentina Premier Championship with 3 wins from 3 games. Independiente are just 1 point adrift. It's a battle of the big guns at 3. The Australian Touring Car Championships and rallying from Carlisle get the power sports treatment at 4. And an hour later, the world's best are out to be crowned King of the Mountain in the World Pro Slalom Championships. Stop in the slop at noon, bounce into basketball at 1, Argentina soccer at 3. There's an hour of power an hour later and World Championship skiing at 5. An armchair ride through Saturday afternoon on Screen Sport. More sport, more choice.
The top names in women's tennis contest the Family Circle Cup. See the semis and the final. Weekend Live on Saturday and Sunday, the 6th and 7th of April.
Has this ever happened to you? What a mess. This shirt and blouse have had it. Or have they? Now, there's a simple way to deal with the most difficult stains. DD7, a super concentrated formula that removes stains but won't harm fabrics. Now, where's the ink? Delicate silk, incredibly clean. Tar, iodine, blood, rust. DD7 gets rid of them all. Dull, grey-net curtains restored to a like-new whiteness thanks to a soak in DD7. Imagine this is your washing machine. Dye from a red sock, ink, iodine. A little DD7 and goodbye to unwanted stains. Order DD7 today from only $6.95. Or we'll double your order for only £3 more. That's 2 tubes from only $9.95. Call your local number on screen now. Austria, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, France, Greece, Germany, Holland, Ireland, Norway, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, and the UK.
The broadcast rights to this game have been granted to Sports Channel and WBBM Radio solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any reproduction or other use of this game without the consent of Sports Channel and BBM in Chicago is prohibited. Here's the draw with 3 minutes left now in the third period. 3-2 in favor of the Hawks. Stevens back of his own net. Gave it to Butcher. He cleared it to center, but the Hawks steal and dump it right back in. Butcher cleared it not out. Lowry trying to work Yanni over, but that is finally ending, and the play continues as Sutter gets to the Hawk line, left it for Mahar, a centering pass, tip. Belfour, the save, rebound is loose, and now covered up by Belfour with help from Goulet, and a big scuffle again around the Hawk net. And the Blues with a opportunity to get the equalizer, didn't miss by much there, and now Sutter and McGill are wrestling back and forth. And Creighton has a shove for Sutter. McGill wants at him, but Maruelli so far being able to hold them apart. And now everybody else separating as well.
Mahar crossed the line, dropped it to Rich Sutter. Rich Sutter put it back. One-handed deflection. Belfour makes a save. Sutter pries it loose, but it comes right back under Belfour with help from Goulet and Yanni. Then McGill. One-handed deflection by Lowry, and then Sutter flipped it. Belfour's able to shut the legs with the loose puck in front of him. Some help from Goulet and Yanni. And then McGill and Sutter getting to a shoving match. Rich Sutter's been one of the better Blues all night long. Best I've seen him skate in a long while. It looks like he might be sent to the box along with McGill and or Creighton.
Well, Dale, you touched on it earlier tonight, but I think one thing we have seen tonight that's been exposed for the Blues is when they traded Jeff Courtnall, they might not have liked his defensive work, but Courtnall's had a history of scoring a lot of goals, and now the Blues, who else other than the Oates Hall line tonight has generated much offense? They really have. Other chances have been very sporadic.
As I said, Rich Sutter has been one of their better players tonight, but he's not a goal-scoring phenom. He has 15 goals. It's one of his best years in a long while, better than last year.
We've got Hull with 79 goals. Oates has 24. Now the next highest total is Dan Quinn, who scored most of his goals in Vancouver. Quinn has 19.
Well, Muskonic penalties go to Sutter and Creighton, and Yanni and Butcher get offsetting minor penalties with 2.5 minutes to go in the third period. It's a long way from over. There's a lot of time. It could seem like an eternity. The Hawks lose a red-hot scorer of late. Adam Creighton with 3 goals and 9 assists in his last 9 games.
Tonight the Blues have a power play goal from Brett Hull, a shorthanded goal from Bob Basson, and speaking of career highs, this is the best year Basson's ever had. 16 goals and 33 points, the most he's ever accumulated in a single season. The Blackhawks have 2 goals from Steve Larmer, one of them a shorthander, and Jeremy Roenick has the other goal. 2.5 left in the third period. 3-2 in favor of the Hawks as Jeff Brown gets the line, but faking a dump in. He forced both Wilson and Brindamore offside on the play as they anticipated that Brown would complete the dump in. Jeff Brown has to get some marks tonight for getting back into the lineup much sooner than anticipated. He's had an ankle problem, was thought he was going to be out for some time longer, but with this key weekend series, he makes it back into the Blues lineup tonight. Now here's the draw. Taken by Ron Wilson. Fires it in. Larmer reversing to the near side. Taken by Manson. Dave Manson shooting it in. On the far board, Scott Stevens able to work it loose to center and Bruce. David Bruce lost it as he came over the line. And now Brindamore. His pass broken up. Hawks dump it in. Under 2 minutes left. Here's Jeff Brown. To Bruce on the left side, clearing to center, but Graham fires it right back in. Now Stevens coming out. Stevens gets over the Hawk line. Scoops it in behind the goal. Belfour shot it to the near board. Stevens trying to keep it in, did to the corner. And now a hand pass is ruled as Stevens gloved it. And the next to touch it was Lowry, and now a face full of glove for one of the Hawk players as Lowry and Stevens were both there. It may have been Cam Russell who ate some leather there. And Russell, who got in quite a scuffle with Kimball earlier in the game. And have we even seen Darren Kimball since then? Maybe one shift after. I don't think we might have even touched the ice after he seemed to have an edge on Russell in the bout, and then Cam put a right hand on the jaw of Kimball that buckled his knees. And Cam Russell coming up from Indianapolis for the game tonight with the banishment of Chelios. What a strong game he's had. Didn't play much early, but as the game's gone on, number 52 for Chicago has had more and more ice time, and it's been very solid.
He's a good defensive player. And he's just honing his skills in the minors, and he's certainly not afraid to show up for battle. He fought Kimball, and now he challenges both Lowry and Stevens, two tough customers. But with Stevens coming in deep, that forces the faceoff back to the neutral zone. The defensemen aren't allowed to cross the hash marks once an altercation occurs inside the offensive zone.
Now the draw. Featherstone tees up a long one. Belfour stops it to Roenick. Jeremy Roenick chipped it ahead to Larmer. Here's a 2-on-1. Larmer over the line, looks for Goulet, then centered it. Oh, and Goulet just missed tipping that into the near corner. And now to the far side it goes. Now Goulet got leveled. A cheap shot by Lowry. That's going to be a penalty, and the Blues hurting themselves here. And now we got a scuffle off the play. Lowry and Goulet going back and forth as the linesmen get there. Dave Lowry just flattened Goulet with a high stick or elbow, it looked like. Goulet hit the deck, and Maruelli saw what happened. He was going to call a penalty on the Blues. And it looks as if St. Louis is going to have to score a short-handed goal to have a chance in this one.
Well, Goulet just failed to tip in the pass, and then Lowry just drifted him, not once but twice. Got him a straight arm right under the neck and the chin area, and Goulet went down. And a stupid play on Lowry's part in a 3-2 hockey game.
Well, early in the game, it was the Blackhawks that were taking some questionable penalties, and now as it's gone along, St. Louis not doing themselves any favor. And clearly here, Lowry just in a selfish situation. He had no thought of his team trailing by a goal in the final minute. He just cold-cocked a man and was trying to get away with it, but he didn't. And now the Blues are going to be short-handed with just 55 seconds left, and they trail 3-2.
And someone better put a leash on Ron Caron. I think he's going to come out of the skybox and jump right onto the ice. I think he should be jumping at Lowry for taking such an unnecessary penalty. And this time of a game, 55 seconds can be a long time Only one shot when you've got a sniper like Hull in your lineup.
Now the faceoff is going to be, I think, outside the Blues line when they do eventually line up. Brian Sutter delaying putting his players onto the ice here. And now he does, but the Blues are going to have to score a shorthander to try to force overtime. Face-off now to the right of Jablonski. Here's the draw to the near point, Doug Wilson. Sends it up the boards. It deflects to Oates, who cleared it to center ice. Now Stevens whipped it into the Chicago zone. Taken by Manson. 35 seconds left. Here's a long feed deflecting to the Blues zone. Larmer's going to get there on the near side. Fakes the shot. Now fought off a hit. Dropped it to Wilson at the line. Up the near side to Larmer. He's tied up along the boards. Hull poked it free to Oates. 15 seconds. Here's Oates over the line. He trying to move in. He does. Here's Oates. The shot. He didn't get it off. And at the side of the goal, a penalty is going to be called against Chicago. What a yeoman-like effort from Adam Oates to just put his head down and drive to the front of the net, trying to muscle it in there. But he draws a penalty, and the Blues have a last gasp with 11 seconds left.
2-on-2 situation. Wilson took Hull, and Oates got a step on Manson somehow. Manson at the last second with help from Gilbert. They dove headlong and prevented the shot on goal. But it'll be a holding call against the Blackhawks' Dave Manson, who's had another terrific night. He and Wilson were outstanding in LA. And Manson again having a great night. In the second half, he's been as good as he was a couple years ago when he went to the All-Star game. He's been terrific. He gets a holding penalty, and 11 seconds left in the third period with a face-off now to Belfour's left.
And I think a timeout has been taken here. I believe Brian Sutter has called time to circle his troops as they all huddle around the Blues coach. Now, Dale, what do you think? I think he might pull the goaltender here with a face-off in the Hog zone. 11 seconds left.
Well, he may as well. He has to, really.
I think he'll go with the 5 skaters, and the Hawks will have to try to win a face-off in their own zone.
Well, you know that one man they're going to try and set up the play for, and that's for Brett Hull to let a one-timer go. Oates is an excellent face-off man. Hawks obviously would like to pay special attention to Hull. Maybe the plan for Sutter is to have everyone collapse on Hull and get someone else open.
All right, Murray and Roenick are on for Chicago with Wilson and McGill. The Blues will have Oates going for the draw. Quinn is also out there. Stevens, Brown, and Brett Hull, of course. And Hull poised behind Oates, hoping that his centerman can win the draw and give him a chance to tee one up. And now Oates coming back to the Blues bench for a new stick. It'll be Murray and Oates. They go for the key draw with 11 seconds left. 3-2 in favor of the Hawks. Now ready. Everybody moving early. Now Murray, is he tossed out of there? I think he is again. So Roenick will come in against Oates. And Roenick won the draw to the near corner. Wilson hacked at it. They scramble along the boards. Blues dig it out to Hull. The long shot off the skate of McGill and wide. Held in by Jeff Brown. Here's the last shot. It's deflected wide. Hawks win. Hawks win. The Blackhawks have picked up their 20th road victory of the year. The 40th win of the year for Ed Belfour, who adds to his Blackhawk record. And Chicago extends the lead over the Blues to 3 points on top of the Norris division. And an ecstatic band of Blackhawks who faced a major week this week with 4 straight games against first-place teams. The Blues, when the week started, were tied for first. And the Hawks beat the Rangers, they beat the Kings, and now they win on the road in St. Louis. And Chicago is first overall again in the National Hockey League with a total of 94 points. In the third period, 8 shots on goal for Chicago and a total of 28. 11 for St. Louis and a total of 36. But no scoring in the third, suiting the Blackhawks just fine.
So a vital win there for the Blackhawks. But what's been happening around the rest of the league? Let's start in the Patrick division, where the Rangers aren't having the best of times. Their recent problems were compounded by the Detroit Red Wings, surprise 4-1 winners here in Madison Square Garden. Division, the struggle goes on for playoff places. Just 4 teams make it through, and Philadelphia and New Jersey moved into the frame with come-from-behind victories. First, Philadelphia at Vancouver. The Flyers were trailing 4-1 in the second, but levelled the scores in the third, with Scott Mellanby scoring what proved to be a controversial goal. The referee points to the puck having crossed the line, and as the replay shows, it was a good call. Then in overtime, the winning goal for Philadelphia was scored by number 8, Murray Barron, his 7th of the season. This backhand shot giving the Flyers a 5-4 overtime victory against Vancouver. New Jersey at home to Toronto found themselves 2 down at the start of the second, but fought back with Alexei Kasatonov scoring the winning goal, his 10th of the season. So currently it's the Devils and the Islanders out of the playoff picture, but this division is wide open. In the Adams division, the 4 teams who get to the playoffs have already been decided. Eliminated are Quebec. It's now a matter of finishing as high as possible to get home advantage. Montreal are out to catch Boston, while Buffalo are looking to finish ahead of Hartford. The Sabres, who've not won at home in 12 games, helped their cause with a win in Winnipeg and a hat-trick by Dale Hawerchuk. The race for first place in the Norris division has come down to the final 8 games, with the Blackhawks now leading the Blues by 3 points. Chicago moved back to number 1 this week by winning 2 in a row, as St. Louis lost 2 in a row. And the teams are scheduled to meet each other once more before the season ends. Further down, Detroit have qualified for the playoffs, and it's still just possible for Minnesota to be overtaken by Toronto. But the North Stars only need 1 more point to clinch 4th spot. In the Smythe division, the championship is also going to be decided in the last 2 weeks. Although Calgary trail Los Angeles by 2 points, the Flames do have 6 of their last 9 games at home, where they've not lost since December, a run of 16 unbeaten games. Third-placed Edmonton, the Stanley Cup champions, clinched a playoff berth this week by defeating the New York Islanders. The last playoff place in the Smythe division could go either way, with Winnipeg and Vancouver meeting each other twice in the last 5 games. Wayne Gretzky continues to lead the goal scorers table, but Brett Hull has now scored an amazing 79 goals from just 70 games. The Wrecking Ball, Mark Recchi, holds 3rd place, just ahead of the challenge of Steve Yzerman. But for now, it's goodbye from the St. Louis Arena, where the Blackhawks took a giant step nearer the Norris Division title with a vital 3-2 win.
Trying to keep it in. Basson stole it. The race is on. Basson with Manson trying to catch him. Basson got off the shot. He scores! Bob Basson. Now the play is in the blue zone. Here's a shot and a save by Jablonski. Rebound Wilson. Jablonski rebound. They score! The third chance was put in by Roenick. And the Blackhawks had tied the game at 2. Back of the net goes Goulet. A big collision there with Stevens. Then Creighton dug it out. Tied up, though, by a much smaller Dan Quinn. It came to Armory. Goal!